All right, today I'm here with Nick Lewis. And what branch of the military did you serve at?
Navy.
Navy. What years?
Oh, shoot. 2006 to 2011.
Okay, so that's a good chunk. What'd you do while you were in there?
Corpsman.
Okay,
So like
cool.
a medic.
Yeah. You know who else is a corpsman?
Who?
Ned Reynolds. In the Navy. In the 50s. So what's funny is because whenever anything health-wise comes up, he knows, and he's like, he's still corpsman, which is great. But that's cool. So you have something very much in common with Ned Reynolds. If you ever see him in person, you tell him, he'll go, I'm sure you get all kinds of stories. But did you do it straight out of high school? How'd that work?
No. Did high school, then I went to college, got my degree in athletic training, but you can't really do anything with athletic training.
Well, you could be a coach.
You can do a lot with it.
Yeah.
But my point was, but I wanted some adventure before I kind of got out in the real world and stuff like that. And so I wanted to join the Marine Corps. They don't have their own medical people. So I joined the Navy to do the Marine Corps stuff.
Okay.
Because at that time, 9/11 was really, it was post 9/11, but it was really ramping up.
Yeah.
It was huge. So got the degree and then enlisted into the Navy.
That's awesome.
Which is silly because I enlisted. Why would I just be an officer? Because I already have my degree. But it was fun.
You could, yeah. But those, I would say that wouldn't that be more of a career path had you chosen that? You'd probably still be in if you had gone that route as an officer, right?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I think you have to sign for a little bit longer if you're going to do it that way than enlisting, right?
Yeah.
But that's cool because most people. Like my best friend I mentioned, he got 6-7 years in and was like, okay, I got to go back to college now, for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Well, I went to flight school and I think he got a math degree, which I was like, dude, are you serious? Anyway,
I think they have to, don't they?
As a pilot, he
Yeah.
may have to. He may have. I just remember we went camping a couple times while he was during that period. He'd bring those damn calculus books, and they were 5 inches thick. It was just like, gee, what the hell, dude? But he gets to fly planes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess kids, if you're listening and you don't like math, you want to fly planes, you better start liking math. Did you spend any time overseas?
Yeah. Got deployed with 1-3. They're based in Hawaii and Japan.
Uh-huh.
And so went over to Iraq, which I can't remember where we went. It was Haqqaniya, Haditha area. It's just a big dam, right? And so, and it was abandoned and stuff. So we were one of the outposts from there, really small, tiny village. It was actually a oil refinery that we had previously bombed, but there's still people there, and there's a lot of action there. The prior battalion was combat ineffective because they had lost so many people. So we get there and we have one skirmish, and then it was dead after that. So I don't know if they all left or something, but
thought they had got what they needed and just took off, or oh crap, the cavalry's coming back. We better get the hell out of here.
We better go.
We better get the hell out of here. It's kind of like you run into you punch the big kid first, and then you run as fast as you can. What do they say in prison? Always go with the biggest guy.
That's
Hit
right.
him as hard as you can. Take that ass beating, but you know what? They'll all know, hey, he's not scared.
Yep, that's right.
Which that's probably is accurate. That's crazy. Did you go anywhere else while you're over?
So after that, got deployed with the blue side. So when you're a corpsman, you can go green side or blue side. Green side being the Marines.
Yeah.
Blue side being with the Navy. And so I was deployed onto a destroyer. And so that was East Coast. And so we just kind of trolled around the Atlantic and the Gulf.
I don't think I've ever. I think I've had a couple guys that did, because most of the guys that I did Navy that were deployed, even on ships, it's very heavily Pacific. Very heavily.
Yeah.
You don't really hear a lot of stuff. I mean, other than Coast Guards staying in the Atlantic, which I think I have taken a guy that was a Coast Guard on the Atlantic. Did you get to go any cool places? Is it cold as hell? You think about the Atlantic as just being the coldest water.
Yeah.
Freezing.
It's really cool. I can't talk about it, but yeah, it was cool. So, my coolest places, we went up to Canada, Newfoundland, Greenland area, stuff like that. That was super fun. Really slow, really dark, really kind of mellow, but it was just neat being up there.
You think about Vikings coming back, on wooden ships to those places.
Dude.
Can you imagine?
Dude, they had no No facilities.
No facilities,
Yeah.
no icebreakers,
Yeah.
no nothing. Do you see any like big chunks of ice like the Titanic stuff while you're in
Dude, beautiful. Like,
Really?
the perfect blue that you have never seen in your life. Oh my god, dude. It was just so amazing, dude. I don't have a good picture, or I can't describe it well. You know, I'm not good at
It's
words
just,
anyways.
but it's like one of those things that
Yeah.
you're there, you never forget it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It imprints on you.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you like being underway on the boat?
I loved it.
Really?
Oh, God, I
Because
loved
I
it.
always hear one or the other. Some guys
Yeah,
are like, I
yeah,
love it, or
right. Yeah.
dude, if I have to sit next to some 18-year-old kid playing video games all day, I'm a yeah, you know. But that's cool.
Yeah. Well, with my job as a corpsman, we were involved in all they call them evolutions. They're like kind of like events, right? So you always have to have new food and stuff like that coming in, mail, stuff like that. So they do that while they're going down the ocean. So you have another ship kind of hovering next to you, and they just shoot stuff over to you. They use like a little zip line, zip line everything over. Or they'll use a helo, drop all the food off, and then you're in there. So anyway, so I'm involved with all of that. So usually you get those people who are just playing video games, but got to be with every evolution.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You get to see every aspect of it and how it
Yeah.
works. That's
Yeah.
pretty badass. So you got out. What do you do now?
All right, so I was gonna do a career out of it. Just picked up E5 in 4 years or so. When the pass rate was like, low. It was super low, but I just studied and studied. So, but I met a girl, obviously, that's how every story goes. And so I got to the point where I was like, man, if we have a kid and I come back from the deployment and they don't know who I am, dude, that just destroy me. So I got out, and so we were in San Antonio at that time. Moved over to Savannah, Georgia. Have you ever been over there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, love that town.
The South is so interesting because I grew up south of St. Louis, and it's weird, even though that's kind of parallel to here. It's more of the South than it is here. You know what I mean? Because Springfield's not the South, but Cape would be considered. If you're there, it feels like the South, and the further you go. But there are pockets of the South that I just absolutely adore. Parts of Georgia are part of that.
Yeah.
Even parts of Mississippi and Alabama.
Okay.
There are only certain parts of Texas I really like. Not big on all of Texas. San Antonio is one that I do like. Austin I like.
Yeah.
But there are other parts that are just like, God. But you can say the same thing about it. It's like Arkansas, too. There are parts of Arkansas I think that are just awesome. Parts that are just like, But I will tell you, one time we were coming back from Florida, and I went through like some shaky spots through Georgia that Google Maps screwed me and like tried to bypass me instead of going through Atlanta. Took me a walk. It gets a little boony down there.
Dude, you got to bite the bullet and just go through Atlanta, man.
It gets a little boony. But no, dude, driving through Atlanta sucks. But anyway, sorry. It
sure
sucks.
does.
Oh my gosh, it's the worst.
No matter what time of day, too, man.
Worst. 10 lanes, it doesn't matter. So it's like, and you got people going 30 miles an hour, and then you got a guy going 100 miles an hour around all those people, and all you're trying to do is just drive the speed limit, maybe 5 over, and you're just like, oh god.
Driving nice, safe, all of a sudden everybody just stops.
Too many people.
Come on, man.
That's why I love it here. Is it's like I like those places, but at the end of the day, like I don't want to live on top of each other. You know what I mean? When you get to places like that, you're just living on top of each other.
Dude, I haven't found a better spot recently than here, right? 20 minutes to get wherever you need to, city or around the city. It's surrounded by highways.
2.5 hours to international flight, or you can do international flights here or in Branson.
Dude, and you got 2.5 hours from major cities.
Yeah. You'll
So
never
you don't
miss a
have to do all the
concert.
BS.
You got all the floating. You could have camping, hunting, anywhere you want to go. You're 12 hours from the mountains. You're 12 hours from the ocean.
Yep.
And
Which I hate the word floating because it makes me think I can just relax and sit down.
that's not.
But you're working, man.
Yeah.
Like, God, really? I got to pedal for this?
Yeah. Depends on the river. If you ever do Bull Creek, you don't have to put. But I would strongly.
Okay.
Yeah, Bull Creek. We'll talk about that later. So anyway, you're in Savannah, Georgia. What did that happen there?
So Savannah, Georgia. We have our first kid, Madison. She's 7 now. And then she gets out of the Army because she was Army when we had met. And so now we go up here to visit her family because her family's all from here. And she comes to me one day, she's like, yeah, I think I want to move up to Springfield. God, Damn it, dude. Seriously? Because, okay, so the first night we were there, I was like, yeah, I don't ever want to live here.
Well, because it's
This
kind
is
of
horrible.
it's you feel like it's, especially when you're coming from a place like that where it's kind of ahead. You
Yeah.
come here and it feels like we're a
Yeah.
little behind.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
But, dude, oh, God, I've loved it so
Oh,
much.
dude, it's so
since we were
good.
there.
Yeah.
For the same reasons.
Cheap. Buy a
Oh,
house.
yeah.
Dude,
Dollar goes
buy a
so
house.
much
Oh my
farther.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she grew up in California, and so she's always kind of want to go back there, but she's like, yeah, it's like your dollar would go so much little than it would here.
You're
know? It's
working to
like-
live there.
and you have to work in an apartment, just to make ends meet. Yeah. So we ended up being here. We had our second kid here, Dylan. He's 5. So I kind of fought it, but kind of grown into it. So now to get to your original question is, so I run a nonprofit with my partner Josh Crocker called Veterans Geese. So I do that. I'm a partial owner of Springfield BJJ, right there behind the McDonald's on FF and Republic. And then the job I'm most proud of is I take care of all the little babies, Madison and Dylan.
Yeah.
Make sure that they're taken care of. All
Yeah,
that stuff.
it's awesome. I mean, it's mostly what we talked about before we did this interview was being fathers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially at a certain point in your life, it's the funnest thing in the world. It's never ever think that if your wife is at home watching those kids, she's not working a full-time job though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's never ever get into that argument because
Yeah.
you'll lose every time.
Yep.
Because if you flip, you go to work feels like a break sometimes. You know what I mean?
Dude.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for your time today, and above all, thank you for your service, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, thank you, man.